I never thought I could get so close to a volcano.
How did we get here?
How did we get here, right? This is
Crazy.
Oh, what just happened?
We are going to give some tips and recommendations about Tongariro National Park. But if you don't want to know that, you can go to the timestamp that's going to be mentioned on the screen, where you will have the cinematic portion of this video.
Just skip us and
Yeah, just skip us if you don't want to hear us rambling and talking and
eating each other's head.
yeah.
That's what we do.
For the rest, come on.
Welcome on board.
Welcome on board.
Tongariro turned out to be my favorite place in New Zealand. I knew that Milford Sound would blow my mind, but I knew that.
Okay.
Tongariro was just unexpectedly so beautiful, and me being a mountain person just added to that. It's just like, flanked by volcanoes from all sides, and and the time we spent there that 1 week,
Yeah.
I would say was my favorite time in New Zealand.
I was really excited when you said about active volcanoes.
Yeah.
I didn't know this until we finished Wellington.
Yeah.
You said we were going to Tongariro National Park,
Yeah.
but I did not know that Tongariro was actually an active volcano. So,
I remember you were like, what? There's active volcanoes? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So basically, Tongariro couldn't go wrong with the bucket list because we had 3 active volcanoes in the national park.
Yeah, Mount Ruapehu, the biggest of the lot. Mount Ngauruhoe, which is the youngest.
Yeah.
The one that I personally liked.
Yeah.
Mount Ngauruhoe and Mount Tongariro,
Tongariro.
which is the oldest of the lot.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called Tongariro
Tongariro
National
National Park.
Park.
Yeah. So to explore Tongariro National Park, there are 3 cities plus 1 village. The village is right inside the national park. It is, I think we went there to see the ski park.
The Whakapapa village. Yeah.
Right? Whakapapa village is inside the Tongariro National Park, but I think it comes a lot more expensive because it's inside national park. Your options are very limited. The city is outside of the national park on the south, and like a triangle it is, right? So Ohakune is in the south end of the national park. Similarly, there are 2 more cities, Turangi and
Whakapapa.
No. Turangi and Whakapapa is inside. So it's like Tongariro National Park. Inside is Whakapapa village.
Okay.
Then there are 3 cities.
Okay.
Right? We went to the city which is Ohakune, which is on the south end. And it is also the only city where you can actually get that kind of views of Mount Ruapehu. When you compare all the 3 cities, Ohakune has a little bit more options in terms of restaurants and amenities.
Yeah.
So
That Italian restaurant, Osteria. Oh my God. Really good food. It had this very homely Italian vibe. Kind of reminded me of those Italian movies, old Italian movies. It kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But the food was too good. Yeah, you will see that in the video. So don't miss the video. I think Ohakune town is a very beautiful town.
Yeah, definitely recommend if you are exploring Tongariro National Park. I think Ohakune is absolutely, like, you can actually spend 2 days in just Ohakune, like, chilling.
Yeah.
You don't have to really explore Tongariro. Within Ohakune also you have these small hikes. You can just stroll around. It's a beautiful, like, little town.
Little town, very beautiful town. The other reason why we opted Ohakune is because of the holiday park over there.
Yeah.
When we were roaming around in the south in the camper van, so we had taken this holiday park membership with this holiday park called Top 10.
Across North and South Islands, there are multiple top 10 facilities, right? And well connected, and all of these facilities are really good, be it for camper van, and most of the facilities also have cabins.
So how much was the membership? I can't remember how much the membership was.
The membership was around $60, 60 New Zealand dollars.
60 New Zealand dollars. And with every stay, we got around 10%
10.
discount.
So, yeah, you have to stay at least for 6 nights to kind
Recoup
of
that money.
recoup that money. Then every stay, it's like proper 10% discount. Because we were there for a longer time, I think we were there for almost 2 months.
In
New Zealand, for 2
throughout New
months,
Zealand.
we could utilize the top 10 membership really well.
Really well, yeah. The location of the top 10 holiday park was also really good. If the weather was nice and it was not very clouded, you could actually see Mount Ruapehu right there.
Open the door, come out, and it's
and
there.
you see it right there.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, very beautiful. The one thing that we would really, there's so many things that we'll recommend, but this one thing that we'll really recommend is to do the volcanic mountain loop.
The desert road.
The desert road.
Yeah.
I think it's called the volcanic highway loop.
It's called the desert. So desert road, the loop is called the mountain, but that road, the state highway is called
one
the desert.
side is the desert road, and then you get connected to another highway and then another highway.
Yeah.
The whole thing becomes the volcanic highway loop.
Yeah. Desert road is said to be one of the top scenic drives in New Zealand, especially in north side of New Zealand. Like in my planning, I knew that you would spot a volcano from the desert road. That we knew. But we went, we spotted, like on the desert road, how you can spot a volcano is quite far. Like, you would actually get and it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. So the first day we were like, let's first go take a look at the volcanoes. We have to see the volcano. And then we went on this, we said that we'll just drive around the loop and then we'll spot as many volcanoes we can. But the highlight of that day turned out to be that detour.
That off-roading. Off-roading. So we were driving on a desert road and then we saw this path towards the left. And Mount Ruapehu was there. It was partially covered by clouds, but we knew Mount Ruapehu was there and there was this road. And there was a board over there. It said something like a hike or something.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll just take that road and see. And we took that road. And my God, what a drive it was. It was off-roading. There's no proper roads and all. And we could drive very close up till Mount Ruapehu. There are a couple of more surprises that happened to us. When you see the cinematic part of the video, of this entire video, that full story is there with a couple of surprises that we got to witness and all. And it was too good. And it's actually in this drive that we saw Mount Ngauruhoe for the first time. That was the first time.
Yeah.
And my God, it was so overwhelming, right? It was really magical, that moment.
Yeah.
We were sitting over there and we saw, just turned on the right and this mountain is there. And at the tip of the mountain, there were these clouds passing through. My God, it was really beautiful.
We went there thinking that, okay, let's just take a little closer look. But what we ended up witnessing after crossing those 2-3, this one that he's talking about, I don't want to reveal it, but my goodness, it turned out to be so, he cried. He says no, but he did cry. Right? And it was just...
We ended up very close to the crater, right? Very close to the crater.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It's just...
Yeah, you gotta see the video. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
And anyone who's planning, and if you want to go onto this road, it is right on the desert road when you're moving from Ohakune to the to the Lake Taupo. That straight line on the left side, there is a cut. In the video also you're putting that board, right? Just take that cut. Only thing is you need a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah,
you
need
can't
a
go with a
4-wheel.
normal car. Just take that cut and just keep driving and just follow the video that we have done. And it's just, you can't get that close anywhere in that park, I think.
Yeah, one more thing that we would suggest to do is that, if possible, have your hiking gear with you. because there is a hike over there,
Yeah,
right?
which
That
we
is the
couldn't do,
round the mountain hike.
Yeah.
I think so. It's a hike that goes around Mount Ruapehu. You can do that. I think it's between 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's why we could not do it because Imai is there.
We have done Taranaki, which was much more than that.
Is it?
We didn't do the hike because it was a steep one with rocky terrain. So we couldn't climb with Momo at that point with a very rocky terrain. We used to kind of avoid anything that is very steep or which is not very safe for him. But we did Taranaki,
We did Taranaki.
which was almost 5-6 hours we were on that hike, right?
Which comes to our next recommendation.
Yeah.
The hike to Taranaki Falls. That is also so good. So this is a hike that goes between Ruapehu on the right hand side and Mount Ngauruhoe on the left hand side. One open field, one mountain on this side and one mountain on this side, and you're just hiking through it. My God, beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Throughout.
Yeah.
I think it's just not the waterfall is the end spot or the summit, you can call it, but it's just not the summit. I think that entire hike or trek, the whole walking, the track is just mind-blowingly beautiful. That track had everything from mountains to gorge to waterfall. It is just beautiful.
Yeah.
And talking about waterfalls and how we plan these hikes, DOC is one website that I used extensively in New Zealand. So DOC is a government run. It's called Department. DOC stands for Department of Conservation. And they've beautifully maintained information about treks, hikes in a particular region. The best thing about these, especially because we were traveling with Mumu and he was only 6 months old at that time. So he couldn't walk. It had to be either stroller or backpack carrier for us. So all of this information on DOC would actually give you context on if it is what kind of a track it is, if it is stroller friendly track, if it is a loop track or a return track, which is the nearest car parking you can actually find before you start the track, and beginning point of the track and a little bit of history information. But what I found really helpful was with the stroller friendly part, and if it has parts of the track where in it there is multiple stairs and things like that. It turned out to be really, really helpful when we were planning this.
There is one hike that I did alone, which is the Waitonga Falls. Okay, and I had to do it alone because me and Nini kind of had a bad fight that day, and I just walked out. I wanted to get some air, and I just walked out, and I did this out of anger. I was like, okay, Nini is going to get angry, so I'm going to do this hike alone. And I went and I did this hike alone.
I'll comment on this if he can actually tell here right now what was the reason for that.
I was going to say that I don't remember.
See?
I don't remember.
See?
It was something very silly. Very, very silly. And especially for me, there are some things that it throws me off. But I don't remember.
Yeah.
So it is the tallest waterfalls in Tongariro, which Nini missed. So I got to see this tallest waterfall in Tongariro all by myself. So it's really beautiful. Everyone who goes to Tongariro should do this hike. How this hike goes about is it starts through a forest, a dense forest, and then it goes up the way to a hill, and then you descend from the hill, and then you actually reach this waterfall. It's a very nice waterfall. It's definitely a hike that I would recommend, but Nini can't recommend because she didn't see that place. The tallest waterfall in Tongariro, she could not see it, and
so that day, me and Mumu, we stepped out. I strapped him onto my carrier and stepped out, and we were exploring Ohakune city as such. We took, and then we ate the famous Ohakune eclair, chocolate eclair. I got 2 for myself, got 1 for him, which I ate myself again, which he completely missed.
I didn't know this.
That shop actually opens up only for a very limited time, and the eclairs are amazing, which you did not have. So there is an eclair shop in Ohakune. Like, it's right at the city center. So the eclair, which he did not have,
Whatever.
was amazing.
Whatever. I saw the tallest waterfall in Tongariro.
And I could have shot all of this, but sir went with my camera also. He was so upset that he took my camera, his camera, action camera, all cameras.
I can't miss the angles, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't miss the angles.
So yeah, it's just me and Mumu strolling, eating eclairs, and it was a nice stroll. We had a mom-son day that day, and I have some shots in the phone, by the way. But next time, please don't take my camera. Take your own camera and go wherever you want to go.
You didn't see the tallest waterfall in Tongariro. The first thing we did in Tongariro National Park was drive through Desert Road. From there we could see all 3 active volcanoes. Along the way, we noticed a signboard that caught our eye. It looked like the road might lead us all the way to Mount Ruapehu, so we decided to follow it. After a while, we reached a point where there was a big sign that said danger. So we stopped there, thinking this might be as far as we could go. Mount Ruapehu was covered in clouds at that moment, so we just waited for a while, hoping the sky would clear.
Waiting for that. Waiting for it to clear. Ask the clouds to clear. Ask the clouds to clear. Can you ask the clouds to clear? No. Ask. Okay, fine. Mumu?
Is that you?
Yeah, is that you? Did you ask? Are you kissing me is a sign to them?
While we were waiting there, we saw an SUV coming from far away. At first we thought that they would stop next to us, just like we did. As the car got closer, something about the design felt really familiar. There were 2 ladies sitting in the front and a couple of kids in the back, and then it hit me. It was a Mahindra SUV, an Indian car. I honestly didn't expect to see a Mahindra in New Zealand, especially in the middle of a desert. But that wasn't the only surprise. We thought that they would stop near us, but instead, they just drove right past. That's when we realized that the danger sign we saw was probably only for one side of the road. So we quickly jumped into our car and decided to follow them.
Just like we're ready.
After about 15 minutes, we saw the other SUV parked on the side. So we pulled over and stopped right in front of it. I got out of the car, and as I looked to my right, there it was. This was the first time in my life that I was seeing an active volcano. It had been one of my biggest wish for so long.
I never thought I could get so close to a volcano. Feels amazing.
How did we get here?
How did we get here, right? This is
You cried?
For me? No, it's the cold wind.
It was absolutely beautiful. I actually got a bit emotional. I felt this overwhelming rush all over my body. And then came the next surprise. Out of nowhere, a helicopter appeared and landed right in front of us. For a second, we actually thought that the volcano was about to erupt and they had come to warn us.
Oh, what just happened?
That was incredible.
Yeah, exactly. What did he pull off?
They have poison drops.
Oh, the pests. Oh, okay.
And it was just a sign that they pulled off that
Okay.
was saying that there was poison, but it must be finished now.
Oh.
They just pull it off. What a good job! Flying around here, pulling off signs.
They just parked like they're parking a bike or something. That was crazy. Where?
Going for a trek, is it?
Yeah, it's a Ruapehu hut.
The kids looked so excited and full of energy. Nini and I couldn't help but smile. We really can't wait to take Imai on treks like this someday. After that, we went back to the desert road to complete the loop. It's a full loop that takes you through some wide open landscapes, and from different points along the way, we could see the mountains from all angles. At some points along the drive, we could actually see fumes rising from the mountains. It was a quiet reminder that these volcanoes are still very much alive. To explore Tongariro National Park, we stayed in a small village called Ohakune. It was a beautiful, peaceful place with some really nice cafes and eateries. Definitely one of the most charming villages we came across in New Zealand. From there, we had a clear view of Mount Ruapehu. There was an amazing little Italian restaurant called Osteria. It was a beautiful little place with a warm, cozy vibe of a classy Italian home. The food was absolutely amazing.
And how do I pronounce this?
Fungi,
Fungi and
Maya.
Malay.
We started with a bowl of risotto, fungi maiale. It was so tasty. Every bite was pure comfort.
Oh my god.
Hey, thank you.
Then we ordered one more dish, spaghetti bolognese, and oh my god.
Super. I love it. Try it. It's very nice.
There's another trek in Tongariro National Park that takes you to a beautiful waterfall called Taranaki Falls. But honestly, the real highlight wasn't just the waterfall. It was the trek itself. The walk was stunning. What made it so special was that the trail ran right between Mount Ruapehu and Mount Ngauruhoe. the views, the feeling of being surrounded by those two giant volcanoes, it was something else. We absolutely loved the journey.
In the depths of silence, where echoes remain, you were the sunrise, and I was the rain. A collision of souls, opposing in flight. I was the darkness, you yearned for the light. Now you're gone, and I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Now you're gone. Why did you cut me up, bring me out, and leave me high and dry?
Won't you say you love me too? I believe you're walking between two active volcanoes.
With this boy on his back singing I love you.
Now you're gone, and I'm losing my mind, losing my mind, losing my mind. Now you're gone. Why did you cut me up, bring me out, and leave me high and kept me alive. I said, hold on. You said goodbye.
After that beautiful trek, we drove all the way up to the top of Mount Ruapehu. Yeah, you can actually drive to the top of an active volcano. When we went, there was a thick layer of clouds just below the summit. It honestly felt like stepping into a dream, just like how heavens were shown in cartoons or old stories. There were soft, white clouds all around us, like a giant blanket of cotton spread across the sky. It was magical. There's an ice skiing area closer to the crater, but since winter was just beginning, the season hadn't started yet. The whole experience of being up there above the clouds was unforgettable.
You want to take this ride?
Tongariro National Park is truly a hiker's paradise. There are so many amazing trails to explore. One of them is the hike to Waitonga Falls. I actually did this one alone because Nini and I had a fight earlier that day. Funny thing is, I don't even remember what that fight was about. It feels like such a waste of time and energy arguing over something so small that we can't even recall.
Driver.
So later that day, Nini and I patched up, and the next day we hiked to another beautiful falls called Tawhai Falls. This is where a few scenes of The Lord of the Rings was filmed. The walk is quite brief but had a beautiful view of Ngauruhoe, making it entirely worthwhile. Yeah, so this was our time in Tongariro. We had a really great time. The next stop is Rotorua. Once that video is ready, you can find it right here.
Why they're not here?
Because you are there, right? I don't
can
want
put it on me.
I don't want to put the thumbnail on you. That's so disrespectful.
People can click on me and go to the next video.
Click on her and you can go to the next video. Not going. Can you go?